Hey there guys, it's Joey, welcome back. We are connecting with the Witchling Clarity this week. From the book there is the following information. Clearing your mind brings you closer to your sacred inner wisdom. Nadina softly takes your hand to walk you out of your shroud toward brighter vision and better days, unimpeded by fog or cloud. Sometimes the mind becomes clouded by overwhelming stress. In a world of information overload, it is important to take time out to slow down and clear the mind by sweeping away the stagnant cobwebs of old thoughts, emotions, and energy. Clarity of mind will help you deal with challenges, remain calm, and keep you at your all-time best. Clearing your mind brings you closer to your sacred inner wisdom. By restoring clarity of mind, you'll tap into the mental strength that you've developed over your lifetime in a whole new way. By releasing mind clutter and emotional baggage, your awareness will expand. With moments of solitary contemplation, you'll sail through the day with focused thoughts. Okay, so my thoughts on the card. The first thing that I noticed was how transparent her legs actually look. I don't know how well it's going to show, but if you can see, you can see the back of the boot through her legs, I guess. Ethereal feel to it, the idea of her being of the spirit realm as well as of the earthly realm. She sort of looks like the legs are sunlit, and that sort of reminds me of a being of light, and perhaps as within, so without, and there are elements of this card that represent the balance between us and divinity and our connection. There's a lot of ribbon tied and bound around her in this image. Both her boots and her hat are all tied with ribbon, and that can have multiple meanings, to me at least. Being tied by her boots is a sort of representative of being grounded within reality, keeping yourself strong and firm with your feet firmly planted on the ground. And with it being tied around the head, to sort of keep your head about you, to be sensible, that sort of groundedness within your own sort of intellectual pursuits, to not go off down the deep end and see things as they actually are. It also speaks as above, so below, because of the head being sort of in a symmetry with the feet. So the element of as within, so without, represented sort of by her being quite spirity as well as quite ethereal, as quite solid as well, is also in conjunction with as above, so below. The sort of tying around of these items of clothing sort of reminded me a little bit as well about one of my favourite poems, which I shall read to you in a second, by Christopher Brennan, and the idea of being bound in mortal mesh, sort of speaking of our soul and its relationship and connection to the mortal mesh. And the poem by Christopher Brennan goes like this. If questioning would make us wise, no eyes would ever gaze in eyes. If all our tale were told in speech, no mouth would wander each to each. Were spirits free from mortal mesh, and love not bound in hearts of flesh, no aching breasts would yearn to meet and find their ecstasy complete. For who is there that lives and knows the secret powers by which he grows? Were knowledge all what were our need, to thrill and faint and sweetly bleed, then seek not, sweet, the if and why. I love you now until I die, and I must love because I live, and life in me is what you give. I think that ties into the card in a multitude of different ways. There's speaking of knowledge not being the be-all and end-all from sources of sort of intellect, but also the need to feel and balance knowledge and feeling, so balance head and heart for personal clarity. There being something other about the world, something that is beyond our understanding, and not being able to understand everything that is going on, and being comfortable with the fact that we can't fully explain the divine, and perhaps even our own selves. And then the omnipresence of love. I must love because I live. I think that's important for our relationship with ourselves, our clarity with ourselves, and our relationship with the world around us and other people, and then deity and divinity, spirit, however you see it. Additionally, the Witchling seems to be stood in a circle representative of sacred space. We create our own sacred space in which to commune and honour the divine. It is a world between worlds. It is something between the mortal world and the realm of spirit. It's representative of us connecting to our deity by honouring them, by creating sacred space. She also has a broom in hand and seems to almost be sweeping between her feet. And that sort of speaks to me about cleansing out that which no longer serves you on an ethereal level, cleaning out negative energy, cleaning out, setting boundaries as well, of course, because we're cleaning out that which no longer serves us and creating the boundary of sacred space wherever we go, which leads on beautifully from the end of last week, I've got to say. As well as cleansing out that which imbalances you, because she's very firmly feet apart, grounded, and then the broom is sweeping away that which is in between her feet, which might set her off balance. She has her hand on her hip, which is a universal symbol that you are ready to take assertive action, and a display of fiercelessness. It's not quite as aggressive as having two hands on the hip, but there is an awful lot of red within the card, which can simultaneously represent the idea of stop, you won't get through here. Red being a colour of stop and danger and you won't get through, and stop signs and things of that nature, backed up by her body posture whereby her feet are firmly planted. She's got her hand on her hip sort of blocking the way through so nothing negative can get through, while simultaneously being a colour and body language for assertive action and personal power. A state of readiness, a readiness to claim your own power and ability, perhaps in those setting those boundaries and what you do not allow through. So that is it for this video on this week's Witchling. Many blessings.